A little insight on Parashas Chukas, where is the secret of the mitzvah of the red cow, the burning of the red cow, meaning if someone becomes impure and needs to be purified, he needs, we're speaking about impurity of like heavy impurity, like someone touched a dead person, for example, which is the highest, then he needs a special purification, and that purification can only be done at the time of the temple when there is Kohanim who take a red cow, complete red cow, and burn it and use the ashes with water to purify the one who is tameh, who is impure. So this is called the mitzvah that even King Solomon and even Moshe Rabbeinu had a hard time to understand. And the question is, why is this the one that is hard to understand? And interestingly, in the same parsha, it speaks about Moshe Rabbeinu hitting the rock and being punished very strongly for something that seems he was supposed to speak, and instead he was hitting the rock in order to draw water from it. So it's a very interesting question about what's the connection, and we have to start the answer. Really, we have to ask the question, which is the question that Moshe Rabbeinu, what was the one question that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't answer? The same way King Solomon had one question, he didn't figure out this mitzvah to its depth, and he realized that really, wow, it's so much deeper than I thought, and therefore really all the other mitzvahs are so much deeper than I thought, and he almost put everything back into questions. And from there we derive the fact that the chok doesn't mean you don't understand it, because really you don't understand anything, and no mitzvot can be really understood. But in the same time, all mitzvot are meant to be understood, and we have to try to understand them to the best of our ability. A chok doesn't mean there's no understanding. A chok means there's something much deeper to it, that it doesn't come with a natural logic. We need to go deeper and find spiritual explanation and Kabbalah or whatever it is, but a thinking that is different than the natural way a human being thinks, a Torah way of thinking. So this is really the theme of the Parashas Chukas, that there is a Torah way to think, and the Torah way is upside down, is reversed. V'nahapachu is exactly the opposite. And so to this we want to question, okay, what was that one thing that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't understand? Moshe Rabbeinu reached the 49th level of Bina, of understanding, at Mount Sinai, but there was one level, the 50th level, he couldn't understand. There was one part that he couldn't understand. So the question he asked God that he couldn't understand, obviously it's connected to the 50th gate. It was, how come the righteous suffer, and how come the evil prosper? And we see that, and it seems upside down. It seems like it doesn't make sense, and it seems like we need a Purim party to really get it. Purim, which is the opposite of actually. Just between I don't remember if it's between as we come closer to Pesach and during the time of Purim, where right before Purim, Parashas Amalek, but we have the Parashas Para, which is during that time also, which is connected to that, to real freedom and to Purim. So Parashas Para, we read the Parashas Chukas. So we know it's all those things are connected. So what's the connection? The connection is that really, if we want to understand the things, if we want to really succeed in our understanding of how the world works, if we really want to be happy, if we want to have meaning in our life, we have to really see that it doesn't work A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It works Z, A, W, B, things like that. Meaning it's not the order that we think is going to happen. And what I'm saying seems very simple, but when we look at our lives, really, we say, why is this happening to me? Why me? What did I do? Why do I deserve that? And it's really understanding that the process of this world is upside down. We read every day, we say, Baruch Ata Hashem Yotzer Or Uborech Choshech. In the morning blessing before the Shema, the first blessing before the Shema is, blessed are you God who forms light, because the light comes from God, emanates, and then he forms light. Uborech Choshech. And Borech Choshech, so there's something called, in Kabbalah, Yotzer, the word of Yetzirah is light, and Bore is a creation, which is a higher world, a higher dimension than light, and that's darkness. So here we're not talking about a darkness that is an absence of light. We're talking about a Chosher that is purposely created and that transcends the natural light that we see, and that is here for the purpose to achieve even higher light, which is connecting to, I guess, Atzilut, we could say, and bring the world of Atzilut, the light of Atzilut, eventually on earth. Oseh Shalom, that's the only way to bring peace on earth. In the Oseh is the world of Asiya, the world of action. Okay, I don't want to confuse you with all the Kabbalistic stuff. The idea is that we have to be able to look at the darkness in our lives as a trampoline, like a Yerida Letzarech Aliyah, a level that is very high. I'm in the darkness now in my life, and now I have to really concentrate on the fact that this level of darkness is actually higher than my happy moment when everything is going good, and really it is here for me to transcend a limitation and an understanding and a level that I had before. It's here to lead me to Atzilut, to jump from a simple level of understanding the world to even a higher level of understanding. And that's where the chok comes. So what's happening with the paraduma? What was the strange thing? The strange thing was that the one who is the Kohen, who is pure, because you can only be pure to purify the impure. So what does the pure has to do? He comes, and the Kohen sprinkle the ashes, and what happened? There is a shift. The one who was pure and purified the impure becomes impure, and the one who was impure now becomes pure. So it's very strange. Like, why should the pure one be the one who becomes impure? Well, on a simple level, what we're understanding. So beside the fact that now we understand that if we want purification of the world, if we want to transcend, we want to bring the world to perfection, we need the holy ones, we need the pure ones, we need the ones that are good to go through a difficult process, because they are the one who do the job. No, it doesn't mean they are bad. So I see a good person suffering, I see the good being destroyed or affected, and we think like, why do you do that? You don't understand. That's for that very reason, that they are the one who can do that, no one else. So it put those people in a very, very special level. And interestingly, those are the ones really who love God the most, and so close to God, and they go through that and they're still smiling. God doesn't usually do that with people who cannot handle it. So obviously he wouldn't. Sometimes some people are too fair, but we're not talking about that. Like in general, the people who are really successful and through difficult things are because they are on that level. So that's a little bit the same thing with Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron with the healing of the rock. They were supposed to do something in front of the people that demonstrated how to transform something solid into liquid, and the way they did it with the stick, God wanted them to do it with the mouth, meaning that we'll give a simple example. I want to transform a child. I have a child who is rebellious. I have a person whose heart is a heart of stone, and I think, if it's stone, then it needs something hard. I have to beat it up with a stick, with something hard, and so therefore, like, a bad person should be taken, or like, not a bad person, but like a person with difficulties and a negative attitude should be taken care by someone with also a very tough attitude. And that's how you're gonna mold that guy. You put the guy is start putting on boot camp, and that's gonna help him. And here the Torah is telling us, no, just the opposite. You have a stone, speak to that heart of stone. We know the stone represents the heart, the character traits, with the whole story of Rabbi Akiva with water going on the stone. So Moshe Rabbeinu was learning a lesson that you have to let love come in. You speak, you connect with the power of speech to the person, and you don't come with strictness, with chumrot, with stringencies and toughness. You come with love, speaking and believing in a miracle, believing that out of stone, that which is harder, which is dead, can come life and water, something completely upside down. How from a stone you're going to get water? Doesn't make sense. How from a person who is like so negative, you're going to have the sweetest person coming out? And really, we see that more than any generation, where we have kids who seem to be like terrible, and they take drugs, and they do terrible things. And what? Those kids are the sweetest kids, the nicest kids, the more pure kids. Why? Because they have had a problem in the past. They got struggled with something, and we think that in our wisdom, that those kids, they need more structure, we need to be tough with them and all that. And really, it's just the opposite. We just need to talk to them and guide them, show them we care about them and love them. So this is a big secret, because we, especially at the end of time nowadays, everything is upside down, and the world is going through a lot of changes and difficult times, and we have to be ready and prepared. This is the story of this parsha, which is we need to look at it in a way that all the things that are going to happen in the giving birth of Moshiach are really good. It's hidden, it looks terrible, but really it's good. We can only say it, feel it. I mean, eventually we want to try to feel it, but the more we think about it, the more we're conscious of it, the more we try to acknowledge it, the more we'll be ready for the process. And if someone giving birth, it looks, how come you're screaming? How come you're in pain? It doesn't make sense. You're giving birth. You should be happy. A baby is going to come out. You're bringing life. How come you're almost dead when you give birth? It seems opposite. Yes, because we're in a world of paradox. After the sin of Adam Arishon, everything good and evil got intertwined, and now we get something through its opposite. We get the spiritual through the physical, and the physical through the spiritual, and the light through the darkness. All the stories of Moshiach, the whole thing of Moshiach is each time coming through a side of darkness, with Tamar and Yehuda, and with Ruth and Boaz, and with David HaMelech and Bathsheba, and each time it seems like we wouldn't think it will happen like that. And that's why we say in Hallel, Even Masu Abonim Haisa LeRosh Pina, the foundation stone that was the foundation stone, that was, or the stone that was built at the beginning, the cornerstone, was really the stone of salvation, was the stone that was supposed to save us. La Roche Pinay was the head cornerstone. So meaning that something that we think really has no value and is really, you disregard it, really that very element is what is gonna save us. So I think that's the main idea, the main concept of Parashas Chukas. And if we look at our life like that, and look at the difficulties of our life, and look at the darkness in the world, and look at the difficulties, and think on the 50th level of Binah, so to speak, and we are saying, well, it's coming upside down. My life, the difficulties of my life are teaching me that there's something upside down, and through that I'm gonna be able really to be happy, because we understand that what you see is just the outside, it's just the superficial. Then you're able to continue further, say, okay, this darkness is here as a stepping stone for me to go higher and become stronger and smarter. And it's in a way very encouraging that when things are difficult, or when we do mistakes, the things that are difficult very often because of our mistakes, but we realize that I learned from my mistakes, and the whole world we live today is all based on that one mistake. It sounds ridiculous. Well, Adam and Rishon takes one choice and that's it. The whole world now is in darkness and suffers. Yes, because that's what's supposed to help us go beyond and come in a world of Olam Haba with, as a Baal Tshuva, b'makom sheBaal Tshuva omdim and tzadikim omdim, right? The place where the Baal Tshuva stands, someone who repents, stands higher than the place where a tzaddik stands. So there is something really transcendental happening in that whole process, and therefore we should learn to, at least in our heart, even not necessarily externally, because when someone dies we don't say Mazel Tov or Hatov Emetiv, we say Baruch Dayan Emet. We have to be sensitive to our emotions of people and to the reality of this world, but we have to know that it comes really behind with a lot of good and for a higher purpose, a higher level. And that should give us a lot of strength and happiness through all the tests and darkness we go in our life.